Hey everyone, Justin here from the Bill Coors Wellness Center, coming at you with another stretch break of the week. So for today's stretch break, I want to go over 5 stretches that you can do to keep your back nice and healthy, to stave away lower back pain. And to start off, we're going to start with a half kneeling stance. So it's a good idea to have some soft floor, carpeted, or maybe even a mat. And then what we're going to do is from this half kneeling position, we're aiming for 90 degrees on the back knee, 90 degrees on the front knee. We're going to squeeze this back glute. We're going to keep our core tight, and then I want you to shift this foot forward just enough so that I can press this hip forward into this stretch while still maintaining this glute squeeze, and feel that stretch on the front of the hip and that hip flexor. We've done this one many times, but its importance cannot be understated, as we spend so much time sitting these days that we get very typical tightness in the hip flexor muscles at the front of the hip, which tends to then lead to our back taking a lot of this as it shifts our hips into what we call anterior pelvic tilt, where we're getting an arched lower back. So 30 seconds on each side. We'll go ahead and switch to the other side. Squeeze that back glute, lean into it. You can enhance this stretch too by taking the arm up overhead of the side that has the leg down. That's going to give you a little more stretch, but you don't have to do this. If you're feeling a good stretch in the front of the hip without that overhead reach, then feel free to just stay here. Now that we've gotten 30 seconds on each side, or maybe a little more with that one, we can go ahead and move to our second one, which is going to be a rib grab thoracic rotation. So what's going to happen is you're going to lay on your side. You're going to take both knees up to 90 degrees. You're going to have both hands, what we call closed book. Relax your head, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the top hand and we're going to grab our ribs. We're going to literally grab on to those ribs, and then you're going to give me a big inhale. On the exhale, you're going to pull and try to rotate that top shoulder down towards the floor. Just hold for about 2 seconds. And then we're going to go through this sequence 5 times on each side. Inhale. On the exhale, pull those ribs, and pull that shoulder towards the floor. One more on this side, and then we'll switch. Good, and then I'll give you from this angle. So knees are at 90 degrees. We're going to make sure they're pulled up so they're at least even with my hip. And then we're going to go closed book here. We're going to take that top hand. We're going to grab the ribs. Big inhale through the nose. Big exhale, and pull and rotate. Hold for 2. Come back to the start again. There's 3. Let's do 2 more. So big inhale as you return. Big exhale as you pull and rotate. Getting some good rotation through that thoracic spine. We want to be mobile in that area, so that's our mid back, which allows our low back to not take the brunt of movement through the spine. Now that we've got that one, we're going to move to a Piriformis Stretch. And so you're going to stay laying on the floor here. We're going to cross one ankle over the opposite thigh. So we're forming a figure 4 here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab behind the knee and pull in towards the chest. Okay, you can relax this foot right here. And then we're just holding for 30 seconds on each side. And obviously, the further we can get this in, the more external rotation of the hip we're going to get, and the more stretch you're going to get in that piriformis muscle. And that's just one of those that tends to get really tight again when we sit a lot. So now that we've got 30 seconds on that side, let's switch to the other side, crossing the ankle over the opposite thigh, grabbing behind the knee, not over the knee. That way we're not putting pressure on those delicate structures in there. And then just breathe as normally as possible as you hold this for 30 seconds. And now that we've got 30 seconds on each side, we're going to move to our fourth one, which is called a prone press up. So we spend so much time in this hunch position, whether it's on the phone, driving, on the computer, you name it, or repetitive tasks at work. We want to try to undo a lot of that flexion. And so you're going to start for these prone press ups by laying flat on your stomach in a prone position. So that's chest down. Then you're going to put your hands directly underneath your shoulders. From here, we're going to relax the lower body, and then I want you to press to your elbows. So if you're going to press to your elbows, your hands are going to be actually a little in front, not under your shoulders like I originally said. And I want you to start here, because if you can come up, you're going to hold this position for 2 seconds. And if that feels like, you could go a little further, then you can go hands underneath the shoulders to press all the way up. The problem with this for some people is they may be stuck in so much of a flex position that going this far into extension could be painful. So if you're feeling any pain as you're doing these press ups, stay just with the elbows here like so as you're doing 5 of these and holding for 2 seconds on each one of them. Just go to where the pain is lessened if you have any low back pain, or you're not creating additional pain. So I'm going to do one more here for my 5. And actually, I'll give you one more, giving you the full press up. So we're keeping the hips down, and then we are just trying to lift that chest upwards. Now that you've got that finished, we're going to move to our very last stretch of the day, which is going to be standing. And this is a QL stretch. So we've got our QL is on either side of our spine, and it's a muscle that is not often talked about, but is a primary leading cause of back pain. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand with the wall to our side, and then I want you to take your inside leg and you're going to step it 90 degrees. So I've got my right leg right now away from the wall, is facing parallel with the wall, whereas my left foot is perpendicular to it. And then from here, what I'm going to do is my closest hand to the wall, in my case right now is my left, is just going to go on the inside of my thigh. My right hand, which is my outer hand in this scenario, is going to go overhead. And what I want to do is I want to apply pressure into the wall to create separation here as much as I can to get that shoulder away from my hips. In this position, you're really going to feel that stretch all the way from the armpit all the way down to the hips, specifically in that lower back region. And we're going to hold this for 30 seconds. Breathe into this one. And then once you've got 30 seconds here, we can switch it up and do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to stand a couple feet away, turn that inside foot perpendicular to the wall. Then we're going to kind of lunge into it. We're going to press with that top hand, creating as much separation as possible. Really feeling that in that QL muscle, which is deep on either side of the spine. And then breathing into it. And then now that we've got 30 seconds, come up out of that, shake it all out, and that is it for today's stretch break. So hopefully you enjoyed that one, and we'll catch you next time for the next one.